How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to New Game Plus. My name is Bryce Newberger, and today I want to talk about what it's like as a dad with four boys, one's a tiny little infant though, to play 10th edition Warhammer, what it's been like for me. Now, a lot of complaints around 10th edition have been the competitive nature, the constant updating of rule sheets, and as casual players, that doesn't really affect us as much. Typically, I splurge for the data cards, and we play with the data cards. Recently, with the new Nightbringer rules, and as huge Necron fans, we have used War Organ and printed out the exported sheets to play with updated rules. I don't think we do the whole. So what we have a custom table that we roll on. It's 8 secondary objectives, and we roll 2d8 to figure out what they are. They're loosely based on the actual secondary objectives with the cards. I just can't afford them. I'm sorry. I'm a dad. I got 4 boys. I own my own business. I can't do it. Not right now. Maybe in the future. Also, and then if you get the same result, you just re-roll, and then you can sacrifice. You can at the end of the round or whatever you want. You can get rid of the secondary for an extra CP, and then primaries. We don't cap the primaries because really, as a dad who's not competitive and kids who aren't competitive, we're not really maxing out on primaries. And so we just haven't had a balance issue. I thought today, however, I would show you guys a game that we played. So this is me and my son. We use a lot of 3D printed miniatures. I had a whole bunch of miniatures. I had a whole bunch of Warhammer armies, official GW. And I had, unfortunately, to sell all of them to start my counseling business, because sometimes we have to fund our dreams and sell our treasures. However, a 3D printer works fine for us. I don't ever play at a local store. I don't sell them, my 3D prints or anything like that. So, right, I think we're copacetic. And then we use real models here or there where I can. And so we have a few real models here or there. But I'll go over my army. I am using the War Dog Pact of the Chaos Knights, and with that I have a Rampager, and I have this model here, who's actually my 3D printed Angron. I prefer actually this really cool, upstanding, gladiatorial looking Angron. However, here we're using him as Scarbrand, because same, it's WYSIWYG. And then this is actually my Lord of Skulls. I actually like Lord of Skulls on 2 legs instead of the tracks. And again, he is WYSIWYG for a Rampager, so it works just fine. And then I've got 4 Wardog Brigands and 3 Wardog Huntsmans. And so basically, if they have a melee weapon, they're Huntsmen. My son is trying out his Christmas gifts that he had put together. So he's got a Monolith. The Nightbringer is my Nightbringer, but he was jonesing to use them, so Nightbringer. And then he had gotten the Royal Court for his for Christmas, and so he's got his Reanimator. He's got the Plasmancer with the 2. Who are the helpers? They're the Cryptex. No, the Crypto Thralls. And then he's got his Royal Warden leading a group of 10 Necrons. He's got his Scorpek Lord leading Scorpex, and then he's got a 20-man brick of Necrons over here with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Actually, I think this is the 20-man with the Royal Warden, and this is a 10-man with his Overlord that also has a Resurrection Orb. I believe the points we're playing here are 2,000. I think is where we're at. We might be at like 1785. That's another thing as casual players. We just kind of match what we can with the points. It's not always 1,000. Sometimes it's below 1,000. Sometimes it's often below 2,000. And then our table is just our kitchen table, playing what we can and throwing together a battle report. So let's jump on in. Oh, by the way, if the Necrons look a little different, it's because they're dinosaurs. My son's Necrons are his story is that the Destroyer virus has turned his Necrons into more dinosaur-looking Necrons amongst the Destroyer cults and the Canoptic creations, and then the basic warriors and nobility and Cryptex all look like basic humans. So the theme of his tomb is that he's running a resort for other Necron overlords to come get some respite from the war. So he's invited the Silent King to come visit his resort. It's essentially Jurassic Park with Necrons. So this is into turn 1, but we'll get into the actual battle report here in a second. So just some cool action shots, right? The Nightbringer staring down the Rampager, and all my little baby war dogs. All right.
All right. Easter battle report with Liam. And we've got Knights, Warhound Pack. We've got also allied of Scarbrand and some Bloodletters off to the side. Versus all of Liam's Necrons. We got a Monolith. We got Scorpex with a Scorpec Lord. We got the new Nightbringer. We've got a Reanimator back there. We've got 20 Warriors with a Royal Warden. We've got 9, so 6 and 3 Scarabs, giving... All right, Easter battle report.
And it's going to cut off, but essentially giving OBSEC to the Scarabs, because we realized when Scarabs are near a Cryptek unit, they act as a great action monkey squad. So his goal is to keep the Scarabs as a screen and as action monkeys near the Plasmancer, which also help him not get shot, because of lone op.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, Liam is attacker. I'm defender. And he has, his objectives are storm hostile objectives. He's got to take one of my home objectives, or he has to assassinate a character. For me, I got hold the line, no one in my deployment zone, and I got investigate signals. I need to do an action in the middle. So we'll see what happens. And then we got Callum here cheering us on. He's got his... Oh, and I forgot to mention, Liam is attacker.
And my baby, at the time, he just graduated from it, had a helmet. He reminded me of that War Baby meme. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Anyways, he was great.
All right, I got to go grab the baby, but a really awesome update. Plasmancer knocked 3 wounds off of my Scarbrand. Boop. Nightbringer Gaze of Death missed, but Monolith shot into my Rampager. And then these guys charged. They activated the Plasma Scythe. They did their little tank shock thing. It's not tank shock, but it's something the Scorpec Lord does like it. And then they did devastating wounds, lethal hits, reroll everything, and they blew up my Rampager. All right, I got to go grab the baby.
It was a really great first turn for him. Popped my Rampager on turn 1, and now I'm going to get to respond. So let's see how responding to that goes. There's that War Baby meme I was talking about. That's what my son reminded me in his helmet. All right. Let's get back to my turn 1. Let's see what happens.
Update. Plasmancer knocked 3 wounds off of my Scarbrand. Boop. Nightbringer Gaze of Death missed, but Monolith shot into my...
Whoops. Here we go.
There's no good blood for the blood god here. I had Liam move his Scarabs back a little bit to help him screen, so I couldn't move Scarbrand. I wanted to move Scarbrand here and charge, but I showed Liam if he just popped those guys back, it was a good screen against me. So,
and this is something that a lot of parents should be familiar with when you're playing with your kids. Oftentimes, you're teaching your kids how to play, and over time, typically, I let my son win for the first few games. It was just getting him comfortable with the rules and how to play and keeping excitement. But now he's, coming up on 13. He's at a point where he's like, I want to earn my victories. He's very smart too, excellent chess player, great strategic game player. So he's allowed me to beat him where I can, but I still make sure that he's playing, smartly by teaching him certain things that I didn't know as a kid, like screening rules and movement shenanigans and all that. Not that I'm competitive or anything.
My goal is to move my war dogs, and actually I've got to get him out of my deployment zone, so I got to destroy that. I have to do an action in the middle. That's not going to happen because I failed my advance, and so I'm going to burn that objective, and then just kill these guys. There's no good blood for the blood god here. I had Liam move his...
All right, and let's see what happens next.
And my goal is hopefully this brigand can clear out these Scarabs, and then Scarbrand can charge the Plasmancer to then forward momentum to some other stuff. But I don't know that one brigand can clear those guys out, so we'll see what happens. And my goal is hopefully this brigand can clear out these Scarabs.
With my shooting in this game, really, the Brigand Gatling guns were, amazing. So Brigands have this kind of chain cannon gun that has amazing shooting down range, can do a lot of work. And then I've got the thermal spears, right, which is big, giant multi-melta guns. And the War Dog Brigands are a fantastic unit. I really, really love them. And then the Huntsmans were really impressive as well. So let's press on.
All right, pizza's here, but we just finished round 1 for me, or turn 1 for me. And I killed all of the Scorpec destroyers with shooting, just shot them to death.
I'm going to attack back with my...
Shot into the Nightbringer. And no, Liam, remember you removed him out of combat, which is fine. We almost wiped out the Scarabs. You have one left with one wound on him? No. Yeah, I don't think that's a wound.
One wound on.
All right, pizza's here, but we just finished
All right.
round
and
1.
it's pizza time. Now, disclosure, this battle report happened on Easter or around Easter. So, I'm divorced, and so I only have my kids 50% of the time. And so I had my kids for just a little bit of time around this time, and then their mom had to pick them up because she got to take them for Easter celebrations. So I was doing one thing special with all my kids, and with my son Liam, we were playing Warhammer. With my other son Jason, we're going to beat Halo that day on the Xbox original as God intended.
Yeah, no, he's full health. He's fine. So we dropped some demons back here. We charged the reanimator. We only did 2 damage to it, though, unfortunately. And then he actually...
Now, I don't actually have bloodletters, so again, we're proxying them. We're proxying Khorne Berserkers as bloodletters. And funny enough, bloodletters and Khorne Berserkers, not at all the same thing. I learned very quickly that when you charge a vehicle with Khorne Berserkers, they cannot hurt anything. And that Cryptek reanimator is... it's got a 3-up save, it's got a 4-up feel no pain. It can activate its own reanimation protocols on itself, which gets 2d3 wounds per back. You're going to see I can't even hurt that thing with those bloodletters. I'm curious how actual Khorne Berserkers would do, however.
Killed a bloodletter back. And it's time for pizza. We're going to pause there. We might have to leave this till Monday. But as for now, Liam's at 5, 10, 15 primary, plus 3 secondary for 17. I'm going to be at 3 secondary and 10 primary for 13. Yeah, no, he's full health. He's fine.
So we're leaning into 17 Necrons, 13 for Chaos Knights. Let's move on to top of... I think now we're going into the top of turn 2, Necron's turn. Let's press on. Oops.
Yeah, no, he's full health. He's fine. So we dropped some demons back here. We charged the reanimator. We only did...
Here we go.
All right, we had taken a pizza break. We're back at it now. Oh, and me and Jason beat Halo. These 2 guys blew up the monolith. These guys shot and tried to wipe out that squad of Necrons. Didn't work. We charged here with 3 units. My little doggy over there. 5 wounds to the Nightbringer. Nightbringer paid a CP to interrupt. Popped my Slaanesh dog. This guy whiffed. And this guy just blew up some Scarabs. That's it. So that was the end of turn 2. Going to turn... All right, we had taken a pizza break.
Okay, so that was the end of turn 2. And we cleared the board a little bit. Let's go into turn 3.
After point scoring, primaries, 5, 10 for Liam. 5, 10. He scored Bring It Down, 3 points there. I kept him out of my deployment zone. That's 3 points for me. So the score is 26 to 30 heading into round 3.
So a little bit of just playing for points. The Nightbringer kind of getting locked in combat with some knights. And yep. And what did I say the points were there at the end? Let's listen one more time.
Heading into round 3. 6 to 30 heading into round 3.
26 to 30. So at this point, 26 for Chaos Knights, 30 for the Necrons. He's holding the primary objective, so he's playing a lot of points there. And I really need to... I'm playing my secondaries as best as I can. I'm clearing them off my board, and we're going to see how we can pull this game out. Let's see what happens.
Final update. Liam had to go be with his mom, but the score was most likely going to be 43 to 44. Chaos wins. Here's why. He got Assassinate Character for 3. He was probably going to kill one of them with the Nightbringer. I got Table Quarters. 1, 2, 3. And then objectives 5, 10, 5, 10, 15, 43 to 44. I win. Final update. Liam had to go be with his mom, but the score was most likely going to be 43 to 44.
My son had to go be with his mother because it was Easter celebration time.
He got Assassinate Character for 3. He was probably
so playing points. my son was able to get... so playing points, my son was able to get some really good secondaries. Ultimately, though, with just the movement of the war dogs, we shot a bunch of thermal spears into his monolith, blew up the monolith, and at that point, it was easy for me to move on to that point, score some primary objectives, and also get the secondaries I needed to win. However, my son was like, well, we didn't play turn 4, and that's very common when you're playing casual Warhammer. Typically, we play 5 turns to 4 turns. Sometimes the game's over by 3 based on how the round's going or how many points we're playing with, whether 550 or 1,000. But ultimately, I hope what you guys can see is for a father, busy schedule. I only had my kids for a limited amount of time. I was in single dad mode because my wife works for a church. And so, with Easter coming up, I just didn't even see my wife that weekend. And let me switch back here. And ultimately, what you can see is, I told each one of my kids I would do something special with them. And so I played a special game with my 7-year-old. Well, he's my 6-year-old, turning 7 soon. And then they, were watching YouTube, playing board games together, having a good time with my 11-year-old and my 6-year-old. While I, took some time to play with my 12-year-old going on 13, and we played a few rounds, very quick, very rapid. You can see the table. I don't have the measurements there, but it's not a standard size table. So the move from point A to point B is easy to move across. We have a lot of movements, a lot of easy kills going on there. And so you can play a quick game of Warhammer. We paused for some pizza. After we ate pizza, my 11-year-old and I, we finished beating Halo. Last we left off, we were on the library, and we finished, I think it was like 3 levels, pretty quick, pretty easy. We're not playing on Legendary or anything crazy like that. And then we went back to Warhammer, and his mom showed up, but we were far enough along. If you do play at tournaments and you run out on time, a lot of times you sit there with your score sheet, and you're like, well, how would this round go? Let's kind of figure it out, right? And that's kind of, what I did. Now, for my son's sake, I said, officially, let's call it a draw, though his Nightbringer was pretty much stuck in combat. He was shooting some things that weren't really my point scoring units. And so that's why I was like, likely, though, it would have been a chaos victory. But all in all, 10th edition, despite all of its complaints, despite all of the, just like the toxicity around the meta that people seem to complain about, that hasn't been my experience. And in my comments in my last video, a lot of parents were talking about how difficult 10th edition has been for their kids and their families. And I think my recommendation to anyone out there is don't get bogged down in stratagems. We pick a few points. First, we play with no stratagems other than CP reroll. So whenever you got a command point, we would say, I'd give them these little gold pirate coins we have. And I'd say you can turn in one of these coins to re-roll a dice. And then you can get a new dice at the beginning of every round. After the kids get kind of used to the idea of, I have a point I can spend to re-roll, I then began to introduce very useful stratagems. So for my middle child, my 11-year-old, he plays Space Wolves. I taught him Armor of Contempt, right? And so I taught him, hey, when you're getting shot a lot, you can also do Armor of Contempt. And with my 12 going on 13-year-old, I taught him for the Awakened Legion, I taught him that he can spend a CP to activate his reanimation protocols. And there's some times he gets it wrong, and I also taught him the stratagem that worked with when a character dies, he can spend 1 CP to resurrect that character at the end of the phase. And he gets some mistakes with it. He tries to use it on his monolith or something like that. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And then I show him the actual stratagem. And now he's at a point where I can give him, my oldest son, I can give him a list of stratagems and he can kind of look at them, or we just consult, okay, hey, is there anything I can do here? I don't know. Let's see, right? And typically what happens is I'm so busy helping them with their stratagems, I don't have time to keep track of all my own. And I play a lot of different armies just for my own interest. I play World Eaters. I play my own version of, I play my own Necron Tomb. I play Imperial Knights. I play Imperial Guard. I play Custodes. I play Dark Angels. And so I don't own the codexes either because they're $70 for rules that are, a lot of times the stats aren't even up to date. So I'm using War Organ or Wahapedia to look up these things. But ultimately, I'm making sure my kids have a good time, that they're enjoying it. And as a dad, if my kids are having fun and we're throwing dice, it's A-okay. The change from the last one where we kind of tasted the 11th edition rules. We did enjoy playing over some terrain as objectives and some of the rules updates to keep things a little zippier, like the charging rules were a lot of fun to just roll your dice, see what you can have instead of humming and hawing over all of the decisions. My oldest son, very strategically minded, he can sometimes take a long time to hum and haw over a strategic decision to make. So by limiting his choice fatigue, we can go, hey, just roll the dice and let's see what you can attack. In the last video, we talked about some of the 11th edition teases. I'm very excited for 11th edition with my boys. And then I've been playing 10th edition with really no qualms. What I'd also like to try in a future battle report is I'd like to actually try out the one-page rules and see what that looks like. Because my son has some stepbrothers over at his mom's house, and he's been teaching his brothers Warhammer. And so I floated out to him the idea of, well, hey, maybe one-page rules might be a good rule set for you guys because I think it's a little simpler, but I'd love to try it with him. So maybe we'll do that next time. All in all, I hope that I can just encourage parents and siblings and spouses and anyone who's out there to get out your miniatures, put them on any table with any kind of terrain you have, and just throw some dice, have some fun, have good times. This is how me and my family celebrate holidays, right? This was an Easter battle we had. We've also had a Thanksgiving turkey bowl, which I have footage for that, so maybe I'll release that someday. It was a lot of fun. 550 points, I think, is what we played, and it was madness because my 6-year-old had 3 Galladus dreadnoughts, and spoiler alert, he just ruined the whole thing in a good way. All right, guys. That's been New Game Plus. I've been Bryce Newberger, and I hope you guys are playing a lot of games together, having a lot of fun. Get out there, war game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.